What's good, everyone? So today we're doing something a little different. We're doing a trade recap, but the different part of it is I actually did a swing trade. I held something overnight, which I never do. The only reason why I did this is because the daily chart looked really good. The options were cheap, so I knew that the risk would be premium paid. What do I mean by that? The risk was what I put into the trade. So on Tuesday, this week, which was the 12th, I bought 3 of the 40 calls, December 15th expiration, same week expiration on ticker CAVA. I paid 33 cents. So in my mindset, or my mind, I was thinking max loss on this is going to be $100. And then best case scenario, it could be, 1, 2, 3, 4, even maybe a 5X, just depending if we got a lot of follow through. Didn't get as much follow through as I thought, but still I thought the trade was all right. Wednesday morning, today, December 13th, I sold them at the open for 75 cents for a 125% win. And here's the timestamp of the executions. So yesterday, 11:48 and 3 seconds a.m., ended up taking the 40 calls, 3 of them, 33 cents purchase price, sold them 2 minutes off the open. The options were a little spready, so I just got rid of them pretty quick because I wanted to see a push over pre-market high. We didn't do that, so I figured I would just get rid of it and ended up closing the position and sold them at 75 cents. And here's my trading day today. So really the main focus in this video is going to be the CAVA trade, but got a nice scalp on Tesla, made some money, went for the Amazon 52-week high, flat trade, tried a flag pattern on NVIDIA, didn't work, but really just showing the closing of the position on CAVA plus 125 bucks, 125% win, which is awesome. Now to break down the actual trade. So I found this by looking through some daily charts a little bit after the morning session, and I saw the elevated volume and the huge move that it was putting in on this day. And if you look back, it IPO'd on June 15th, had a push, sold off aggressively like a lot of IPOs do, and then ended up going sideways for a while. And while this candle was forming, because if we look at the candle the prior day, the volume was unbelievable. At that point when I caught it, it was about 3x the average. And looking back at June 15th, the volume on that day was 16, almost 17 million shares. So I thought that maybe this could end up having more volume than that day. And if this ended up being a very high volume day, kind of at the lows, above the moving averages, and then if we really break this down technically, clearing out some resistance to the upside, we had that little pivot, and then we had a pivot over here, pretty close location, but just clearing out resistance to the upside. And if we got above 38 and we stayed above, I felt like there was the possibility that this could get to like 40, 41. So as this was pushing on elevated volume, it caught my interest. And then I decided, hey, let's take a shot. I'll risk $100. It'll be a good lesson to learn something because I do not really like swing trading, and especially options with theta decay and same week expiration. So this is what it looked like on the 5-minute. We had a pretty strong push off the open, and it just continued to stay above VWAP the entire day. So as this was holding VWAP, and then we had consolidation towards the highs in this area right here, this box, I ended up taking the calls in this area thinking if we make a new high a day and we clear out some of these pivots to the upside on the daily chart, and then we close at the highs of the day, maybe this could have a gap up. And if it has that gap up, I want to sell it off the open. Now, I did that exact strategy or the execution of selling it at the open today, but sadly, it didn't have a big gap up. It failed to get above that pre-market high, and when it pulled back, I just got out of the options. Had this cleared out that prior day high and had a strong push to the upside, the percentage would have been much better. Also, one other key factor that made me want to give this a chance was looking at FinViz. Look at the short float, 16.26%. That's not high, but that's a decent amount where if this ended up holding up, there could be the possibility of just a 1, 2, 3 day move to the upside. And then had we got that push today off the open, I would have sold into that strength. But just knowing that the short float was not a high percent, but I would say it was a decent percent, especially when something is at the lows of possibly kickstarting a new trend and just a squeeze to the upside. So I ended up going long on the intraday at some consolidation, and there was some aggressive pullbacks. Had I been watching this and micromanaging it as a scalper like I normally am, there is no way I would have held through any of this. But knowing that the risk was premium paid and it was best case scenario, I make 100 to call it 100 to 500 bucks Worst case scenario, I just lose 100. I just put the position on and I didn't worry about it. And I walked away. So that's the first time I've done that in a very long time. And now let's show what happened off the open today. So I was really hoping that we close at the highs around 39. I wanted to open up my charts this morning and see this thing at like 41. It didn't really do that. We had a slight gap up on lower volume, and then we started to give it up in the pre-market. And then this is the first candle off the open. So what I really wanted to see was when this candle pulled back, I wanted to see this quickly get back above the high a day and then potentially clear out pre-market high. And if we cleared out that pre-market high for second day continuation, maybe this thing could have quickly pushed to 40, 41, and that would have been a really solid winner on the contracts, but it didn't do that, and that's all right. So when we ended up pulling back and we kind of stayed weak in this area, I just got out of the contracts and sold them for 75 cents. And even though it wasn't a big win, it was a learning experience because I did take something overnight. I normally don't do that. I hate taking stuff overnight just because of the news, the uncertainty of what could happen that you have no control over while you're sleeping. But as far as giving it a chance, a learning lesson, risking $100, making 1.25x on the risk, not bad. So that's it, a quick trade recap on a swing trade, something I don't normally do. And to be honest, I don't really want to make that a habit moving forward. I don't like swing trading. I really like scalping and making money, losing money, and just calling it a day and not worrying about holding anything overnight. Appreciate you watching the video. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.